Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Thanks so much for coming to our presentation. We are Bepro. As you can see, we got the top right corner. Our motto, our existence really is to take you to the next level when it comes to soccer. When we say you, we mean you as the player, you as the coach, you as the analyst, whatever it may be. And so we do that by supporting player development with video and data. And we've got a presentation lined up that sort of highlights as to how we go about in doing that. Joining with me today is Daniel Johnson, who is our U.S. Customer Engagement Manager. He's a former MLS and USL Pro. On top of that, he's a West Ham Academy product. In addition, we also have Peter Deely, who is our Marketing Director, both for Europe and the Americas. And so before we go into the how, I'd like to talk a little bit about our story. So we were founded in 2015 in Seoul, South Korea. What started off as a side project, as most startups do, turned into what it is today, where in 2018, we moved to Hamburg to get closer to the center of the football universe. And in 2019, we set up our US operations here in the US. Right now, we're at 700 plus teams that are on the platform, along with 70,000 plus users, with a presence throughout the big 5 European leagues, that you can sort of tell by the logos on our bottom right. And most recently, we started our move to London to get even closer to the center of the football universe, and that is in process right now. So how do we provide this value? So if you look at the platforms or the technology or the processes of today, the processes were sort of dictated by what technology was available in the past. And then as new technology developed, more additional things were slapped on. And you as coaches and analysts had to sort of weave in and out to sort of make that work. We've sort of put that, sort of turned that upside down when we designed this whole platform with the player, with the coach, and with the user in mind. So what we do here is we take video, whether it's collected by our camera system or some other camera system, it's entirely up to you. And then using that footage, we collect the data based on events that are available to collect. And then from there, we visualize that data and we make it very easily accessible on the platform that is accessible throughout all the operating systems from Apple, Android, PC, or laptop. And so what is it, this platform, like, what does it do? So how does it take you to the next level? It's more of, how can you understand, measure, and improve performances via data? And so with that data, we collect a multitude of things, but in doing so, we help improve both the player as an individual, but also as a team. And while we're collecting this data, there's objectivity, obviously, because of a set definitions, because of the way that we collect it, we take out the human error side and take out the preferences, because you and I have preferences when it comes to how we see things or how we miss out on things. And based on the automated features that we have, it really saves you time to focus on what's important, and in this case, helps you develop better players and in the end, win more games.
In the pursuit of developing better players, winning more games, we at Bepro pride ourselves on being a platform that provides a robust set of data that isn't just data for the sake of being a modern tool and looking nice, providing data. We want all of our data to be actionable, and we partner with our clubs so that what we give them can be used for both short-term and long-term development. So starting with short-term development, this pertains to the results-based game that football or soccer is at almost every level, whether that result is the actual result of a game, a win or a loss, or whether it's kids coming out of a game having done the things you worked on in training or performed in the way that you wanted them to. For Bepro, this starts with the video. For us, we are either recording a match or you are uploading a match that you've recorded. And from there, it's analyzed by our experts, whether in a live capacity, like some of our highest competing partners are doing, so that they get these insights at halftime or immediately after the game, or retroactively uploaded and automatically packaged back to you. And what it does is it allows you to have your match in one place, and rather just the video or the data, it's brought to life through a set of visualizations and downloadable PDFs. That allows you to better prepare for matches, analyze yourself, analyze opponents in a real in-depth way. On top of that, one thing that we always like to say is this data it's not actionable. It's not able to be used if you're not going back and working on these things in a training capacity. So we also give you the opportunity and the option to upload, store, and organize all of your training recordings so that on the weekend, what you see, what you've identified with our data, you can then go back and work on that through the week. You can then implement things, whether it's your shape, whether it's your system, whether it's individuals, and work on it through the week, review those training sessions so that come next weekend, come next match day, you're ready to go and produce results. A quick snippet of our platform here. What you'll be able to see as this plays through is a quick snippet of our pass matrix. So it's showing the relationship between two players on the field, recording every pass that those two have shared. And what you'll notice is with a click of that data, it's given video. So every piece of data that's recorded in the Bepro platform is given context with video so that you as a coach, you as an analyst, you even as a player can spend more time looking at the things that matter and less time trying to cut, clip, and analyze hours of footage, whether it's 90 minutes, whether it's a set of games from a cup, whatever the case may be. As well as having everything contextualized with video, which I sort of say is the great equalizer. I've been in locker rooms where I've disagreed with the coach disagrees with me, and the truth is somewhere in the middle, and you find that in video. We take that another step further, and we provide you a set of actionable data visualizations. So whether you are in a position where you have analysts on staff, you are further along in the process of going into data, observing XY data, so on and so forth, we go in depth enough so that you can use the Bepro platform and make it work for you in a really high level way. If you're right at the start of this process, you haven't worked with data, you haven't really worked with video before, these tools also make it very easy. We pride ourselves on having a very user-friendly UI and interface so that as you come in, you can start to look at things, on-ball things like passes, shots, goals, as well as more nuanced portions of the game like transition moments, like counterattacks, both offensively, defensively, and so on. Outside of short-term development and the care that we've taken with it is the long-term development side of things, which we find a lot of our competitors don't put focus on. For us, we provide a turnkey solution for DOCs, academy directors to build out a video and data library of every player in their club. And what this allows you to do is easily organize every clip, every kid, and every set of data for every participant within your club in one place. And you'll see here we've taken the same amount of care in our long-term development side of the platform as we do in our results-based sort of short-term side. So you'll see here we have a similar visualization where you're benchmarking two players. So in the case of Accrington Stanley here, who's fully implemented, they can compare their first team center back to an under 18 center back and see where they were at the same age, see what sort of things are similar, where do they differ. Can you send these clips to the under 18 center back and allow him to develop his game in the mold that you want him to or her to? And we've taken the same care in providing these long-term development tools so that you can share them across the platform, both video and data. And it allows your players, whether they're in the training ground, at home, traveling, or sort of in these crazy times we live in on a break because of a coronavirus outbreak or whatever the case may be, you're able to engage with your players in a really, really in-depth way using video and using data. It allows them to empower and drive their own development and take it into their own hands.
So moving on from what Peter and Daniel have spoken about, we just want to talk quickly about tracking data. Now, this is something which we capture through our camera system. So we have a fixed camera system which uses 3 cameras to catch the entire 180 degrees of the pitch from a very high angle. So relating to some of the points that Mr. Marino made earlier about liking a nice high view of what's going on. And you can see on the left, basically, we are using computer vision, recognizing the moving objects, so the players and the ball, and turning that into data. So through this process, where we're capturing the individual position 25 times a second, we're generating about 3.5 million data points per match. So we've gone from our event data analysis, which Daniel spoke about, which might capture about 2,000, and we're taking that all the way up to about 3.5 million data points. Now, from that tracking data, we're able to generate both physical and positional data. So starting with positional data, this is the idea that you're able to see greater context around each event. So for example, did a pass break a defensive line? You can also look at your formation in a more objective manner. What do you look like with the ball? What do you look like without the ball? And from a physical data point of view, we're capturing things like sprints, distance, effort, the type of thing you'd perhaps expect to get from wearable devices, but without the need for those wearable devices. So players are not having to be kind of perhaps slightly restricted by wearing those vests. And in both forms of that tracking data, so physical data, as Daniel showed with some of those events, is also linked to video. So each individual sprint can be referenced through the video. And we also make this data more actionable. So from a kind of both physical and positional data point of view by integrating it with our video. So on the right, you can see, for example, you're able to see the real-time position and the kind of the distance relationship between your back line. You're able to draw a space behind your or between your midfield trio to see their control of space. So you can also export our data if you use Tableau or if you're a more advanced user. But again, the key to Bepro is we have this advanced feature, but we make it easier for you to use.
So taking a step back from sort of the technical aspects that we provide, from a club perspective, we do offer a streaming service as well. So if you look at for families, especially during the current COVID pandemic, as far as getting a safe method to watch the game as states start to open things up, this is an option. Post-pandemic, when parents are traveling or grandparents are not around, this is an option where the clubs can provide that capability for family to watch their players play on the youth side of things. For recruitment, I think the same concept applies. Obviously, with the current issues right now, the coaches cannot travel as they once did. And we think, following the pandemic, we're at a change here where even coaches that maybe were on the East Coast that did not travel to the West Coast quite extensively, this is an efficient manner for you as the club manager or coach to provide exposure to your players as you look to get your players to the next level, whether it's collegiate level or the pro academy level. And so with everything that's going on, we think this is an excellent opportunity for additional revenue streams for clubs as the clubs are able to provide a tangible product to both family as well as the coaches. So next, you'll see a video of an interview that we did that sort of goes through the technical aspects of what one of our partners here in the U.S. did. And we'll let Carl Reynolds, he's a coach down in Southern States, and we'll let this interview do some of the talking here.
So it is with immense pleasure that I can introduce my former colleague and sort of one of my coaching mentors, the Director of Player Development and Head MPSL Coach at Southern State Soccer based in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Carl Reynolds. Carl, how are you, man?
Doing well, DJ. How are you, buddy?
Doing very well. Take a moment and introduce yourself, your background, and sort of Southern States and what you do at the unique club down in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, so obviously grew up across the pond in England. Grew up in the academy system. Pretty much since 7-8 years old, was involved in clubs in the academy system over there, England schoolboys, so on, and then found my way across here into college and played 4 years in college here in Mississippi in the NAIA, and had a really fun, good career there. And even when playing, really something I always knew I wanted to do was coaching. So worked my way into coaching and being an assistant at my former college where I played at William Carey University. And then kind of moved myself a little bit around. I went back into Europe and worked at Sporting Gijón in Spain for a while in the academy there. Came back over to the States, had the opportunity to work in the Red Bull organization in New York, which was fantastic experience and some great mentors there that I still use today. And then ultimately, had the opportunity, I guess, as I tried to say to people, to test my views and my beliefs in building this club here, and it was almost too much of a good opportunity to turn down. So about 4 years ago, we started this project. We started it on the youth side, really just trying to build a situation here that was similar to that of what I experienced as a player and then as a coach in Europe. And then, through the years, obviously we've started to expand into not only the youth side in terms of the 5 and 6 year olds, but then also the senior side to help us try and bridge the gap between what it takes to be a youth player and what it takes to be more of a senior player. So obviously my role's expanded a little bit. For my development, that's been absolutely fantastic because I'm having to learn and adapt on a daily basis, which is what I want as a coach and what I need as a coach, but then also for players in this region and for our senior team, for players around the world now that we're bringing in. Hopefully we're providing an environment that's aiding other people, developers, as well as myself. So very excited about the project, really enjoying what I'm doing right now. And obviously, having you guys on board with what we're doing has only helped that. So yeah.
No, it's brilliant. And it's one of the reasons we've been so excited to partner with Southern States. And obviously with your sort of depth and breadth of experience, could you speak to sort of your experience with performance analysis tech through the years as you've developed as a coach?
Yeah, so obviously having worked in college and in the youth game and so on, there are so many analysis systems around the world, particularly the last 10 years or so that I've been involved in coaching. I've had little experience with Huddle, with Dartfish, with Prozone. But I think I've said to you before, DJ, I'm very much, I love to be on the field as a coach. But I'm also somebody that absolutely understands that there are so many multiple facets to being a coach.
Right.
So I went into studying psychology. I did my master's degree in that. And as the games developed, video analysis has obviously taken on a huge role within the game. And I recognized pretty early that was something that maybe I wasn't as adept to and I wasn't as good at. And I really needed to push the envelope, so to speak, to get better.
Right.
So started to study it, taken a few courses with it, and then again, I'm very much someone that likes to learn on the job. I think that experience is so valuable. And that's what Bepro has very much allowed me to do as well, is really test my limits on it. And pick other people's brains within the game, pick the brains of people like you guys that obviously have designed this brilliant program. So again, I'm still very much someone that's learning this side of the game, but I will say that it's definitely helped me develop as a coach and helped me start to see the game in ways that maybe I hadn't seen it before. So it's been nice to add that to my repertoire.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to what you're trying to do at Southern States, and as well as you as an individual coach. And is a really good segue into the question of the specific of you using Bepro at Southern States. How do you guys implement the platform, especially as you said, you liking to be on the pitch and sort of still learning these things? How have you implemented the platform at Southern States?
Yeah, so I really split it. There's the basic ways that we use it, and then there's like a little bit more in depth. So some examples of the basic ways we use it is obviously we have the youth sites to our game to our program. Sorry. So for example, our U19s team is made up of a lot of players that have come through our academy. But those players are obviously still looking to move into college and professional game or whatever it is, whatever level they're at. So one of the basic things that Bepro has allowed us to do is very easily create highlight videos and give statistical analysis to coaches that are interested in these players. And that as of right now has been probably the best tool. Simply because the time that we're having to spend to create those videos and everything now compared to previously is probably cut in half. And the quality of the video that these guys are getting now and able to send to these coaches along with the statistics has been absolutely phenomenal. And just over the last couple of weeks alone, video that we've used from Bepro to send out to top schools around the country, Division 1 schools, NAIA schools, Division 2 schools, is getting these kids signed, and it's getting these kids big scholarships. And that's something that maybe we haven't done before, because one, this is really our first year of those players being old enough to move into college.
Right.
But then also, not having that quality of video. So that being the basic side has been huge. We also use it, the highlight tapes from each game to use on our social media. So the fact that the games are already split into the highlights of that particular game means we can just download that tape and throw it straight on social media. So that's fantastic. And then we have the in-depth side. So obviously the side that, I'm using more as a coach. I've had multiple meetings with individual players where we've sat down and we've gone over components of their particular position. So it might be, midfield players, and we look at our game model, and we're looking at midfield players that we're not looking at players that just keep the ball for sake of keeping the ball. We're looking players that are looking to be more purposeful with their possession. So we talk about purposeful vertical possession. And I'm now able to sit down with midfield players and say, hey, look at your statistics, and these look impressive. But how many of these were forward passes? How many times did we look to break lines, for example? So I've been able to sit down with individuals and really break their game down specifically using the Bepro platform. And then we've also a lot been able to sit down with our teams and been able to talk about, again, our game model. What do we look like out of possession in terms of what is the heat map showing us? What are our fullbacks giving us in terms of what we're asking them to do in certain games? Sometimes we ask our fullbacks to sit in so that we have a rest offense to stop counterattacks, for example. Sometimes we're asking our fullbacks to get a little bit higher. And what is that heat map showing us in terms of what we've asked of them previously before the game? And that way we're able to sit down with the players and go, hey, this is the result we got. These are the areas we're getting into. This is what we asked of you. What's the analysis showing us at the end of the day, and did we meet our targets?
Right.
So long story short, we really try and split it into, we use it on a very basic platform, and then we use it on a very in-depth platform, and it's been fantastic for both of those.
No, I mean, it sounds like you haven't given yourself enough credit in terms of where you are with video analysis. You're sort of being humble before. But I think that gives a really good picture and paints a really good picture in terms of using Bepro on both ends of the spectrum, both in that simple way and both in the most advanced way possible. And I think just to round it out here with you, Carl, I'd love to ask you where you see video and performance analysis going in the future. Where do you see this data headed now that you've had a chance to really use it in a robust way?
Yeah, I think obviously there's smarter minds than me in terms of technology. I mean, just using AI blew my mind, and it still does, to be honest. I mean, we've got cameras on our field now that are situated. I for example, I work out in the mornings and I'm thinking, is this camera picking up everything I'm doing? Am I going to get back to my laptop and be like, you were too slow today, type of thing, But I think for me, all joking aside, every club has their own game model, their own philosophy, methodology, whatever you want to call it, or at least they should. I think where I really see video analysis going, and maybe an improvement to be made across the board, is being able to really break the analysis down into that particular club's specific game model, game phases, game trends, game components, even terminology that you use. An example of that is obviously we talk about build-up phase a lot with our players, and components of that being breaking lines, being our rotations and interchanging, and having an analysis system where you're really able to tailor it to your specific phases and your specific terminology, I think is something that will be able to take a company to the next level.
Yeah.
Being able to give our players an online platform where they go on and they're seeing a database that uses the exact same terminology as what they're used to on the training field, I think would be next level in my opinion. And I think it's something that probably you guys at Bepro are as close to as I've seen. And I think would be a really easy ad for you guys. And you guys are way smarter at this stuff than me. But I think that for me, being able to go in and have it already broken down into our particular game model and terminology would just be, I mean, that's for as a coach is like a dream, you know?
Yeah. No,
I hope that answers your question.
No, it's brilliant, and I think it's something we pride ourselves in our relationship with our partners, such as this at Bepro, and something that we continue to work towards. So, Carl Reynolds, Southern States Soccer head of player development and head coach of the MPSL team. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really appreciate you talking through the system with us, and of course, we really appreciate you being a Bepro partner. So, thank you very much, man.
No, thank you guys. You've been absolutely fantastic along this whole thing. So, thank you.
Alrighty, so with what Carl said, obviously there's the novice side of things, and then there's the advanced side of things. But what we want to say is that we encourage everyone to sort of start down this process, and it all starts with video. Whether it's just collecting the basic video, using your own camera system, or using our system, we're entirely camera agnostic. You don't have to use our system, but essentially what our platform allows is enables you to take that data and do a little bit more with it. So in this scenario, just being able to collect the video, record the video, and then take it onto our platform to edit it, make the cuts, figure out what clips are important to you, and share it across the club so you can have that actionable data that you can sort of implement down to your players. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, if you're more of an advanced stage, the full product suite is available, right? So as I said, you can use our camera system, a competitor camera system, whatever you have currently. We are video agnostic for match video and training video. And then from there, we provide event data that we collect and also the tracking data that we collect. And then we provide an intuitive visualization for you as the coaches and customizable reports to make decisions, to make changes as you see fit moving forward.
So in summary, we at Bepro believe that in our mission to democratize soccer or football analysis. So each of the individual components within our platform, whether it be our camera system, whether it be our video, whether it be our data analysis, whether it be our tracking data, our editor, we feel these are all industry-leading tools. And when bringing them together in a single platform, we do truly believe we can't be beaten. And that's whether you're just making your first steps in terms of video analysis, or whether you're a club well along the journey to becoming kind of an expert in the field. Now, what we'd all like you to do today or at some point over the event or whenever is to try Bepro for yourselves. Don't take our word for it. So if you go to the URL on screen there, so it's actually bepro11.com/demo, you can try a match analytics experience for yourself. So there's a full match in there with anonymized players. So you've got all of the match video, all of the clips, all of the data visualizations that you can try for yourself. So you can hopefully see what all of the fuss is about. Also, you can try it through mobile. So if you download the Bepro 11 football analytics app, you can also download that, and there's the ability to try it on your phone, again, for free. But we'd like to thank you all for your time and patience today. We hope you've found this useful and informative in some form. You can obviously reach us through the booth at the event, but also feel free to email us by sending a message to contact@bepro11.com. We're going to end the presentation there and open it up to any questions that you guys have been sharing with us throughout this session.